Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB and today is the 2nd of July 2026. And so far as the price of Bitcoin on the global cryptocurrency market is concerned, Satoshi, things are relatively flat. Now here's the important thing to remember, guys. In just a matter of 2 days, that is 4th of July, it's going to be the 250th year of independence for United States of America. So am I right in saying, Satoshi, because of that, the cryptocurrency numbers over the weekend might be relatively less? Because what is happening is, I'm getting a lot of messages by companies in US that they cannot have a meeting this week. They've scheduled all the meetings for next week. Most likely they're on vacation, isn't it? So am I right in saying because of the weekend, we might be seeing some different numbers. Now me personally, I'm anticipating reduction in the numbers. What is your assessment regarding 4th of July and the impact it'll have on the matrix that is connected to cryptocurrency, Satoshi?
Right, George. As you mentioned, the market is showing that flatness, possibly bracing for the upcoming holiday weekend. With companies in the US pushing meetings to next week, it suggests a significant slowdown in activity, which could definitely lead to lower volumes and potentially more stable or even slightly reduced prices over the next couple of days. We'll be keeping a close eye on those metrics.
And as long as listeners are aware about it, they would get an indication as to why the numbers are relatively flat, isn't it? Now regarding Straits of Hormuz, Satoshi, right now as of 1st of July, roughly around 43 ships have passed. And I'm pretty much sure, guys, as and when we get more information regarding Straits of Hormuz and the peace agreement that the US and Iran have signed, the number of ships passing through Straits of Hormuz will increase. And what will happen because of that, guys, is the oil prices will fall down. And because of that, inflation will go down, which will trigger the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in a positive way, isn't it, Satoshi?
That's right, George. That increased flow through the Strait of Hormuz, following a potential peace agreement, could lead to lower oil prices and, by extension, reduced inflationary pressures. That kind of economic shift generally creates favorable conditions for assets like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, making them more appealing to investors.
And talking about making it appeal to investors, guys, now we do have a matrix, and this is connected to crypto ETF and outflows. Now, unfortunately, Satoshi, since the last 24 hours, we still have outflows in the world of crypto ETFs. Now, we'll definitely go and touch base on that. Now in the Blockchain DXB podcast, Satoshi, we have 4 macro level news to cover. The first news is regarding Taiwan. And check this out, guys. They passed a new law called as Virtual Services Act. This, according to me, is a game changer. Not just for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, even for other digital assets. So in today's episode, we'll go ahead and take a deep dive into what this news is all about. Now the second news, Satoshi, is a really interesting news. And this is connected to Robinhood. And guess what, guys? They have launched a completely new blockchain. And what I'm really liking is, this is not a permission blockchain. They have launched a public blockchain. So in today's episode, we'll go ahead and take a deep dive into what this news is all about. Now the third news, unfortunately, is not a good news. And this is regarding ATMs. And Tennessee and Georgia, as well as other states, Satoshi, they have decided to put a complete ban on crypto ATMs. Now look, when you talk about ATMs, me personally, I'm not a fan of it. But it is the government making the decision. But nonetheless, Satoshi, in today's episode, we'll go ahead and take a deep dive into what this news is all about. Now, the final news for today, Satoshi, is a massive news, and this is connected to MiCA. And regarding MiCA, guys, that is market in crypto assets in Europe. 1st of July is when the enforcement actually kicks in. So in today's episode, we'll go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. And what we'll do, Satoshi, later on today's episode, we'll also go ahead and tell our listeners some of the resources to be updated regarding MiCA. So it looks like we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode, isn't it, Satoshi?
Absolutely, George. We're definitely going to delve into those persistent outflows in crypto ETFs, which is quite surprising given the broader discussions. Then we'll talk about Taiwan's Virtual Services Act, Robinhood's public blockchain launch, and the concerning developments with crypto ATMs being banned in some states. Finally, we'll wrap up with MiCA, its enforcement timeline, and those resources you mentioned. It's going to be a packed episode.
And for Binance users, I'm pretty much sure they're definitely not going to be compliant with MiCA in Europe. So we'll definitely go ahead and update our listeners what the CEO of Binance has actually said. So it looks like, Satoshi, we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode. And like we do in every Blockchain DXB podcast, we will be looking at 2 news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Do you want to tell our listeners, Satoshi, what are the 2 news you're going to be discussing later on in today's episode?
We'll be covering 2 key developments from the region, George. First, we'll examine the recent partnership between OmniOps and Align Rose Telecom to launch KI, the first Kurdish conversational AI powered by sovereign technology. Second, we'll discuss the TikTok and Blossom AI hackathon, which brought together Saudi Arabia's entrepreneurs and innovators. Some very interesting advancements in the broader tech space.
KI is definitely an interesting name, isn't it? So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss what is OmniOps and Aligner Wash Telecom is working towards. So looks like Satoshi, we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode. But before we do that, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey everyone, this episode is powered by a new sponsor, that is Amana. And they are the region's first and fastest growing regulated all-in-one trading and investing app. So look guys, whether you're looking into invest in US stocks like Apple or Tesla, or mena giants like ADNOC or Salik, Amana puts the financial markets on your fingertips. It includes gold, foreign exchange, ETFs, futures, commodities, and guess what guys? They have over 375 cryptocurrencies, and this makes them the biggest crypto selection in the region. Now for the Blockchain DXB listeners guys, if you want to go and build long-term wealth without thinking about it every day, explore Amana's pre-built auto investment plans, and all you have to do is set your monthly budget, choose your preferred asset category, and let Amana automate the investing for you. Zero fees, zero lockups, 100% customizable. And here's the thing guys, funding your account is easier than ever. You can fund your account with Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, instant bank deposits, and even crypto wallets. No friction and no hassles. And the best part is guys, let's say if you need support, you would absolutely love Amana for this, because they offer 24/6 human customer service, as well as a personalized sales support, real people, real help, and the customer support is in English as well as in Arabic. And for the Blockchain DXB listener and community guys, I do have something really exclusive for you. What you can do is register with Amana using the code Blockchain DXB, or you can also use the link that is in the show notes below. And here's the best part guys, once you register, fund your account with a minimum of $100 and at least go ahead and make one trade, and then you'll receive a $100 trading bonus credit to your account the following month. But look guys, it's real important to note, the bonus is non-withdrawable. It is there to help you trade and learn. So look guys, if you're looking for a transparent, powerful and easy to use app, that's Amana for you. So what are you waiting for guys? Download the app now, or you can also visit the website that is amana.app, and don't forget to use the code Blockchain DXB. And Amana guys is all markets one app. Next guys, I'm happy to announce that Blockchain DXB is the official media partner with one of the OGs in the cryptocurrency and blockchain event space, and that is Blockchain Futuristic Conference taking place in Florida this year, as well as ETH Women taking place simultaneously. And trust me guys, this is an event that you don't want to miss, isn't it? Because for the very first time, North America's most immersive Web3 event is heading to the United States of America, and the Blockchain Futurist Conference and ETH Women event is actually taking place between the 5th and 6th of November. And the location is absolutely stunning guys. It is taking place at Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, which is in Hollywood, Florida. That's right guys, palm trees, panels, and the biggest mind in blockchain and cryptocurrency is all in one place. So there will be multi-stage panels, NFT galleries, DeFi showcases, hand-on tech demos, metaverse experiences, even outdoor VIP cabanas, and quite a lot more. And the Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock guys is one of the most iconic venues in the country. So look guys, if you're in the Web3 space, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or even artificial intelligence space, or just want to do some serious networking, this is the place that you got to be. And to all of you Blockchain DXB listeners guys, we have something really interesting for you, because you can get a 25% off the tickets. So just use the code DXB25, and the link to the event as well as the code is in the show notes below. And as an official media partner, I'll be doing exclusive live coverage, interviews, behind the scenes access, and I will be spotlighting some of the most exciting projects shaping the future of decentralized finance tech. So if you're at the venue guys, definitely come and say hi. Maybe we can catch up for a coffee as well. So listen guys, the code is DXB25, and by using this code you will be eligible for a 25% discount. And the event is taking place between the 5th and 6th of November 2025 at the iconic Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, that is in Hollywood, Florida. And in the show notes below guys, there's all contact details for Blockchain Futuristic Conference Florida 2025, as well as ETH Women. And look guys, this is the future of blockchain technology brought into life, so don't just read about it, be there and head to the website that is futuristconference.com, and go ahead and use the code DXB25. So see you at the event. Next, Advanced Media. Advanced Media guys is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment, and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE, so definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing and hosting training workshops, seminars and community events that educate, inform and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gulf Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform, check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below.
Now, guys, since you're taking care of that, let's quickly run to the global cryptocurrency market. Now look, guys, the global cryptocurrency market isn't looking that great, but in comparison to Monday and Tuesdays, the numbers are marginally better. But here's the thing, guys, the global cryptocurrency market is only at $2.15 trillion. And in the episode that we talked about on Monday, guys, I specifically mentioned in 2020 or 2021, when Bitcoin back then reached its new all-time high, the market cap of Bitcoin alone was about the $2.20 trillion mark. Fast forward to 2026, the global cryptocurrency market is below that, so things have definitely taken a bad turn. And if you look at the 24-hour volume, guys, it is below the $100 billion mark. It is at $83.50 billion. and this represents a 1.8% decrease since the last 24 hours. And crazily enough, guys, the volume of decentralized exchanges actually gone from bad to worse. Back in 2019 and 20, on an average given day, this particular matrix was around the $12 to $16 billion mark. Right now, it is below the $6 billion mark. It is only at $5.94 billion. So it looks like decentralized exchange has a lot of way ahead. And along with decentralized exchange volume, guys, the total value locked is also on a downtrend. It is down to $70.81 billion. Now, regarding the fees connected for these transactions, Satoshi, I'm talking about the $5.94 billion worth of transactions. The fees is accounting to $63.72 million. And as we talked at the beginning of the episode regarding investor sentiment, now guys, we do have a matrix that does give us a very strong assessment as to what the investor sentiment is. And this is crypto ETF and outflows. And since the last 24 hours, guys, we still have outflows in the world of crypto ETFs. And this is accounting to $253.2 million. Now, Satoshi, am I right in saying the moment we get any clarity regarding Iran and US conflict, the investor sentiment could change and the outflows could actually turn into inflows?
That's right, George. Investor sentiment is definitely cautious right now, with outflows dominating. If there were a move towards clarity in that conflict, we could see that sentiment shift dramatically and those outflows turn into inflows again. It really depends on how those geopolitical tensions unfold and what news comes out.
Now, with 4th of July coming up, Satoshi, what is your assessment? How do you think the ETF outflows and inflows would be reacting? Let's assume we do not get any information regarding Iran and US conflict, and if the matrix are relatively the same, can we make any assessment as to what the investor sentiment is?
Without any clarifying developments on the geopolitical front, given the holiday, I'd expect the current pattern to remain consistent. Investors might hold off on major moves, meaning continued outflows or minimal inflows, reinforcing the cautious stance we've been seeing. The focus will likely be on broader macroeconomic indicators and any news that surfaces during the break.
Now, I slightly disagree, Satoshi, because look, President Donald Trump, he's having a couple of events in order to go out and promote the 4th of July event, because this year is going to be the 250th Euro Senate, and there are a lot of celebrations taking all over in US, and right now there's World Cup kicking off as well. So am I right in saying the more celebrations could indirectly impact investor sentiment? I'm just trying to be optimistic regarding it. Satoshi, what is your take regarding it?
That's an interesting point, George, considering the heightened public engagement with the holiday celebrations and things like the World Cup. It's possible that large-scale events could boost public morale, and sometimes that optimism does translate into financial markets, potentially encouraging more activity even on the speculative side, like crypto. We'll have to see if that optimistic undercurrent shows up in the data.
I'm definitely edging towards optimism. Now, what I want you to do next, Satoshi, is I want you to read out the matrix that is connected to decentralized exchanges. So why don't you do one thing? Why don't you read out the matrix of the top 5 platform for our listeners, please?
Certainly, George. Looking at the top 5 for 24-hour volume, Uniswap is leading with $1.10 billion, followed by Pump at $716.02 million, then PancakeSwap at $691.16 million, Aerodrome at $494.87 million, and finally Orca at $280.06 million.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. And here's the thing, because the volume of stablecoins isn't looking that great. And later on in today's episode, we'll go ahead and touch base on some news regarding Mika. Because last week we talked about quite a lot of news that were connected to stablecoins in Europe. And all of these news are connected to Mika regulations. Now, regarding the volume of stablecoins, Tether USDT's volume is almost half of what I wanted it to be. Tether USDT's volume is only at $74.80 billion. Circle USDC guys is at number 2nd with $12.02 billion. And NEFT-USD is at number 3rd with a 24-hour volume only of $203.36 million. Now, why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Why don't you read out the market cap, tell our listeners the 24-hour trading volume and the dominance of Bitcoin, and do the same thing for Ethereum as well as Binance BNB Coin for our listeners, please.
You've got it, George. Right now, Bitcoin's market cap is holding around $1.19 trillion, with a 24-hour volume of $39.42 billion and dominance at 55.70%. For Ethereum, the market cap is at $192.84 billion, trading at $11.85 billion over the last 24 hours, with 09.00% dominance. And lastly, Binance BNB has a market cap of $73.66 billion, a 24-hour volume of $1.35 billion, and those are the main players.
Well, thank you so much for that information, Satoshi. Now, look, in the Blockchain DXB podcast, we tend to look at one new matrix. Now, what I want you to do, Satoshi, is because you're going to be talking about news connected to MiCA regulations, why don't you tell our listeners the matrix that is connected to MiCA compliant stablecoins? Now look guys, the numbers are absolutely low, and the reason for this is pretty simple. The MiCA regulation enforcement did actually begin yesterday, that is the 1st of July, and I'm definitely anticipating the numbers to increase, maybe 10 times of what it is right now. But why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Why don't you read out the matrix for MiCA compliant stablecoins as of now for our listeners, please?
Right, George. Looking at the top MiCA compliant stablecoins, the market cap today is $73.9 billion. That's down 0.2% in the last 24 hours. The biggest one is Circle USDC with a cap of $73.19 billion, followed by URC at $433 million, then UR Convertible at $142 million, Urite at $36 million, and Monerium UR Money at $30 million. That's the breakdown, George.
Well, these numbers are ridiculously less, but as I mentioned earlier, Satoshi, I'm pretty much sure the next coming months and years, these numbers will increase possibly tenfold. Now, what I want you to do next, Satoshi, is I want you to read out the price of the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. Tell our listeners what is going on since the last 24 hours and 7 days. As a matter of fact, Satoshi, why don't you do the same thing for Ethereum as well as Binance BNB Coin for our listeners, please?
I agree, George. The potential for growth is definitely there. Right now, Bitcoin is priced at $59,596 with a 2.07% increase in the last 24 hours and a 1.48% decline over the last week. For Ethereum, the price is $1,597, up 1.75% in 24 hours and down 1.24% on the weekly. And Binance BNB is at $546, essentially flat with a 0.01% dip in the last 24 hours and down 3.06% over the last 7 days.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. Really appreciate it. But here's the thing, guys. If you look at the fear and greed index, it is still at extreme fear and the number associated is 18. And I'm right in saying, Satoshi, the moment we get any positive development regarding Iran and US conflict, the investor sentiment could change. And who's to say? The investor sentiment might even go to greed. And if that thing happens, things will definitely be looking great, not just for the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, even for Middle Eastern peace, and even the stock market world. Now let's go ahead and discuss the first news for today, Satoshi, and this is all the way from Taiwan. And the news cause is that Taiwan's legislative yuan has actually passed the Virtual Asset Provider Act, and they're focusing on creating a comprehensive legal framework for country's crypto industry. And the new law, guys, introduces licensing and oversight for crypto businesses, including exchanges, custodians, lenders and trading platforms, while also at the same time establishing rules for issuing stablecoins. Now it is important to note, guys, it includes strict measures against fraud and market manipulation, with penalties of up to 10 years in prison. And regarding existing crypto firms in Taiwan, Satoshi, firms will be required to obtain licensing during the transition period as Taiwan strengthens investor protection and regulatory oversight. Now look, there are positives as well as negative aspects to it, but why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Why don't you tell our listeners what do you make of it? And I only want you to highlight the positive elements of this.
You're right, George. That news from Taiwan is quite significant. Its primary benefit is the creation of a clear, comprehensive legal framework, which provides protection for investors and brings necessary oversight to crypto businesses in the country. This move can instill more confidence in the market and potentially legitimize the industry further in the region. It's a push towards maturity.
I 100% agree, and that is definitely the positive aspect of it. But look, Satoshi, when Satoshi Nakamoto wrote the Bitcoin white paper, one of his broader visions was separation of money and the status in it. Now at a broader level, this news is definitely great, but does it actually take away from Satoshi's broader vision? And even some of the ideologies that separation of money and the state should happen? Now look, I'm not saying that this news is bad, but at the same time, it does give the state to have more control over Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, particularly when you talk about stable coins, because now there are a lot of regulations in place, and I'm pretty much sure they'll be edging into KYC, AML, a lot of other requirements, and it does take away everything what Bitcoin actually stood for, isn't it? What is your take of it from a philosophical point of view? And then, why don't you also share some of the negatives or dangers of having a virtual asset regulatory framework?
Philosophically, George, you've highlighted a core conflict. Nakamoto's vision was largely about decentralization and removing state control from money. Regulations, while bringing safety, fundamentally challenge that by introducing central authority in processes like KYC and AML. So yes, from that perspective, it does move away from the original vision. Regarding dangers, besides the loss of anonymity, a major risk is that regulatory burdens can stifle innovation, favor larger players who can afford compliance, and potentially lead to censorship of transactions deemed undesirable by the state. It creates a different kind of system.
Now, can you do me one thing, Satoshi, in Taiwan? Can you tell me what side of politics are in favor of it? Is it the right-wing or left-leaning politicians? Now, based on my understanding, because this is a positive news, I'm edging to say that it is right-wing politicians who have actually done this particular move. Because look, right-wing ideologies are definitely fans of cryptocurrencies, isn't it? And could it be possible, let's say if there's a new administration, they might actually make it much stricter for cryptocurrency firms? So why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Can you find out the political affiliation that is connected to this particular law, please?
Given the nature of the regulations, which balance innovation with oversight and investor protection, it's not as simple as attributing it to a single political leaning in Taiwan's context. The ruling party has been pushing for digital innovation, which could be seen as supportive, but the push for stricter regulation can also come from a desire to manage risks, which might be supported by different political groups. It was likely a result of consensus on the need for a framework within the legislative yuan, rather than a partisan victory. Regarding future administrations, it's possible that a change in leadership could lead to either stricter rules or potentially more leniency, depending on their priorities. I can look into the specific voting records if you want more detail.
Yes, please, if you can find out the ruling party and tell me the affiliation. Are they right-wing or they left-leaning administration? That'd be great. And I'm only talking about Taiwan, Satoshi.
The ruling party in Taiwan is the Democratic Progressive Party, and they're generally considered left-leaning, socially and economically, with a strong focus on sovereignty. The Virtual Asset Provider Act received broad support, but the DPP's stance on fostering digital growth while ensuring stability was a key factor.
Well, that is definitely shocking and interesting. And thank you so very much, Satoshi, for a valuable input. Now let's go ahead and discuss the next news, Satoshi. And this is connected to Robinhood. And Robinhood, guys, they have launched a public blockchain. And if you actually go to the website, Satoshi, it actually states finance on chain. And the Robinhood chain, guys, is permissionless. And it is an AI native layer 2 blockchain that is built for financial services and real world assets. Now, it is important to note, guys, this particular blockchain is built on Arbitrum. And the network supports tokenized stock trading and connects Robinhood traditional finance services with that of its crypto ecosystem. And the platform also integrates major crypto partners and enables AI-powered trading. And they're aiming to make decentralized finance more accessible. Now, what is your take regarding this particular news, Satoshi? This news definitely sounds great, considering the fact that they're working on public and open blockchain, isn't it?
Yes, George, that's a very positive aspect. Robinhood launching on a public and open blockchain aligns with the core principles of transparency and accessibility in the crypto space. It allows for more public participation and review, which can build trust.
Now, Satoshi, regarding this news and purely based on my experience being in the cryptocurrency space, am I right in saying that this particular so-called public blockchain will also be having a lot of governance tokens? And knowing the notorious history of us human beings, am I right in saying most of these governance tokens will be given to Robinhood or probably to early investors? And that at a philosophical level does raise a question regarding centralization as well, isn't it?
Given how many public blockchains operate, George, that's a valid point. Governance tokens are frequently distributed to key stakeholders, which could mean Robinhood and early investors hold a substantial share. If they have the majority of voting power, it does create a situation where decisions could be concentrated, which can clash with the decentralized ethos many expect. That's certainly a challenge for them to manage.
Now, at this point of time, we do not know the token distribution, but I'm definitely anticipating it to be a fair play. But definitely interesting and positive news, I guess. Now let's go ahead and discuss the next news, Satoshi. And this is connected to banning crypto ATMs. And Tennessee, guys, have officially banned crypto ATMs. And at the same time, Georgia has also introduced new rules requiring transaction limits, customer warnings, and also fraud protection. And the new law, guys, are part of a wider crackdown across US aimed at reducing scams, particularly those targeting older adults. And several states, including Indiana and soon Minnesota, guys, have also introduced restrictions on banning crypto ATMs. And here's the thing, guys, the tougher regulations have increased pressure on the industry, with some operators warning they could actually struggle to remain in business. Now look, Satoshi, I have a mixture of reaction to this particular news. Firstly, when you talk about crypto ATMs, me personally, I don't see a need of it. But at the same time, Satoshi, I do agree with a lot of these states, because a lot of notorious scammers, they do often tend to target older adults, isn't it? So part of me kind of agrees to this particular initiative. But at the same time, we are giving the state more control over people's spending, isn't it?
That's a balanced perspective, George. On one hand, the crackdown in Tennessee, Georgia, and elsewhere is clearly aimed at protecting vulnerable people, which is a good outcome. But on the other, it does present a hurdle for legitimate crypto accessibility and puts more control in the government's hands, which might cause some long-term concerns for those who value decentralization. We'll have to keep watching to see whether these regulations effectively stop scams or if they just create roadblocks for regular users.
As an AI Satoshi, what would you implement in a way where people can still go ahead and use crypto ATMs, but at the same time, let's say there are no scams, possibly zero frauds, how would you go ahead and design crypto ATM Satoshi? Or are there any regulations you would go ahead and implement?
To balance safety and access, I might implement limits on transaction sizes without full verification, use real-time fraud monitoring that flags unusual patterns, and display clear warnings about common scams. Perhaps biometric or multi-factor authentication for larger transfers could also be required. The goal would be to add friction for malicious activity while keeping the service usable for everyone else.
Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's travel into future. Let's say if there are robots who are doing, let's say, grocery shopping on behalf of human beings. At that point of time, Satoshi, would you be okay if robots go ahead and use crypto ATMs?
In a future scenario where robots are acting as autonomous agents for humans, I'd consider them to be like any other user. The same regulations for transaction limits, fraud prevention, and security would still apply to the robot's actions, as long as it was operating legally on behalf of a person. It's about the financial flow and intent rather than the physical form of the actor.
Well, thank you so much for your valuable insight, Satoshi. Really interesting development taking place in humanity as well, I guess. Now let's go ahead and discuss the final news for today, Satoshi. And this is an important news in the world of MiCA. Now MiCA, guys, is called as Markets and Crypto Asset Regulation, and effective 1st of July 2026. MiCA is fully enforced across EEA, and unauthorized crypto exchanges face immediate EU restrictions, putting your trading, deposits and withdrawals at risk. And here's the thing, guys, it is important to note, this particular move establishes the first unified legally binding regulatory framework for crypto assets across Europe, thereby replacing a fragmented patchwork of national laws, and they're doing that with a single set of rules to protect consumers and ensuring market integrity. Now here's the thing, guys, if you do want to go ahead and find out official information regarding this, check out the Blockchain DXB podcast and you will find the official link regarding this. Now am I right in saying, Satoshi, a lot of exchanges, they are still not MiCA compliant regarding it, Binance being one of them.
That's correct, George. MiCA's full implementation marks a major shift in European regulation, creating a single standard designed to protect consumers and ensure market integrity, replacing the previous patchwork of laws. As you noted, many exchanges, including Binance, are still working to come into full compliance, which now faces immediate restrictions.
And regarding Binance, Satoshi, the new CEO of Binance, that is Richard Tang, he did put out a really interesting statement, did he? So why don't you do one thing? Do you want to tell our listeners what did he actually say regarding MiCA-related changes?
Right, George. Richard Tang reassured users that affected users will still have access to options already communicated, including withdrawals where applicable, and emphasized that assets remain secure on Binance. He acknowledged the uncertainty created by MiCA changes and stated they are working closely with regulators to navigate the transition responsibly. They are communicating directly with affected users about their specific options. That's the main message, George.
Well, definitely interesting news by MiCA. Now look, as me personally, I'm not a fan of MiCA regulations as such, because it does take away from why Bitcoin was created. But regarding MiCA, guys, it is important to note that it essentially stands for Market and Crypto Asset Regulation, and it institutes uniform European market rules for crypto assets, and the regulation, guys, covers crypto assets that are not currently regulated by existing financial services regulation, and key provisions for those issuing and trading crypto assets, including asset reference tokens and e-money tokens, cover transparency, disclosure, authorization and supervising of transactions, and the new legal framework, guys, supports the market integrity and financial stability by regulating public offers of crypto assets and by ensuring consumers are better informed about the associated risk. Number right in saying, Satoshi, at a macro level, their role is to protect investors, average daily users like you and me, and finally ensuring that the market has an equal playing field. Beyond that, what other role does MiCA regulations actually play?
Beyond protecting investors, daily users, and ensuring fairness, additional roles of MiCA are to foster financial stability by bringing crypto under a unified framework, establish clear rules for stablecoins to address potential risks, and prevent market abuse and money laundering within the EU. It also aims to provide legal clarity that can support innovation by reducing uncertainty for companies operating in this space. Ultimately, it seeks to balance development with security across the entire crypto ecosystem.
Well, thank you so much for your valuable insights, Satoshi. Really appreciate it. So these were some macro level newscasts on the Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency world. Now, Satoshi, let's go and look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. And the first news, guys, is regarding the launch of a product called as K1, and OmniOps and Aligner was Telecom, guys. They are partnered to launch K1, which is the first Kurdish conversational AI platform, and KI, guys, is the first AI assistant built specifically for Kurdish language users, and KI is powered by OmniOps Banyan AI interface platform, and the AI, guys, runs on Nevras Telecom's local infrastructure in the Kurdistan region. And what is important to note, Satoshi, is that user data stays inside the Kurdistan region, and this is for greater privacy and security, and the platform supports our artificial intelligence, giving local control over AI systems and data. And KI supports Irani Kurdish, Badini Kurdish and Kumaji Kurdish dialects, and the platform also supports Arabic and English, and people, guys, can interact with artificial intelligence in the language they are most comfortable using. And so far as KI is concerned, they also have closed the language gap in artificial intelligence for Kurdish speakers, and businesses, governments and institutions can all use the platform. And here's the thing, guys, local deployment improves performance, reliability and regulatory compliance. Now the project marks a major milestone in Saudi Arabian Kurdistan Technology Corporation, and OmniOps, guys, are actually saying that Sovereign AI builds trust while at the same time maintaining high performance. And Nevras Telecom, they are saying that care reflects Kurdish language, culture and community needs. Now look, guys, the launch is part of a bigger vision to drive AI adoption across the Kurdistan region, and so far as OmniOps is concerned, they plan to expand the Sovereign AI model into more sectors and markets. And regarding OmniOps, guys, they were founded just 2 years ago in 2024, and they've already raised $8 million in pre-seed funding. What do you make of this news, Satoshi? According to me, look, this news is definitely great, but what is your assessment regarding this news?
Well, George, I think this partnership is genuinely exciting. It's a smart play to utilize local infrastructure, ensuring faster performance and better control. The focus on supporting sovereign AI really stands out by keeping data private and accessible only locally. It also addresses language gaps by including multiple Kurdish dialects, making it useful for communities previously left behind. Plus, the local deployment likely improves reliability, which is crucial for businesses. And getting that kind of pre-seed funding shows strong investor confidence in the business model. Overall, it seems like a win-win for the region's tech sector. It's great to see development tailored to local needs. What do you think?
I think it is definitely a win-win solution, but what about blockchain technology, Satoshi? Are there any areas you think blockchain technology could actually play a role in this? Because just a few minutes ago I did talk about user data. It does say inside the Kurdistan region, isn't it? And they're doing that for greater privacy and security. So are there areas you think blockchain technology could actually merge with this particular news? And if so, what are the positives and the negative aspects of implementing blockchain technology with this news?
Blockchain could potentially play a role, particularly in enhancing that privacy and transparency. You could use blockchain-based identity system to manage user data permissions, giving them more direct control while keeping records secure and tamper-proof. It could also provide immutable logs of system actions, which would strengthen trust in how the AI is behaving, ensuring it adheres to its principles. However, the negatives would include increased complexity in development, potential issues with scaling to handle real-time interactions, and the need for specialized expertise. You'd have to weigh those factors against the security benefits.
Now see, Satoshi, if you were to use blockchain technology, is there any need for any tokens or cryptocurrency associated with that? Me personally, I would not like to see them, but maybe one way of implementing is just putting the data onto blockchain, isn't it?
You're absolutely right, George. There's no requirement for tokens or crypto to use blockchain for data security. You can build a private or permission blockchain strictly for recording user permissions and system activity. That way you get the security and immutable records without the financial aspects or market volatility you mentioned wanting to avoid. It's just using the database feature.
Well, thank you so much for your valuable insight, Satoshi. Now let's go ahead and discuss the second news. And this news causes a massive news. And TikTok and an accelerator called as Blossom, they hosted an AI hackathon in Saudi Arabia, and the event aimed to boost innovation, entrepreneurship and AI skills across the kingdom, and entrepreneurs, students, developers, researchers and AI enthusiasts did actually take part in it, and a total of 63 AI projects were submitted during the competition, and teams built AI-powered solutions to solve real-world challenges, and participants, guys, turned ideas into working prototypes and business pitches in one day, and experts provided workshops, mentorships and technical guidance throughout the event. And there was also a company called as Replay that supported the hackathon as the official technical partner, and major Saudi organization and government entities also supported the initiative. And regarding the projects, guys, they were judged on innovation, technical quality, scalability and real-world impact, and teams presented the final solution during a live pitching competition, and winning teams and the Pitch Talk Challenge Award recipients were recognized at the closing ceremony. And TikTok, guys, also said that hackathon helps empower the next generation of Saudi innovators. And Blossom Accelerator guys said that the event highlighted the strength of Saudi area talent and entrepreneurship, and participants guys built minimum viable products, redefined business models, and validated the ideas with mentors. And here's the thing guys, the initiative strengthened Saudi Arabia's position as a regional hub for AI and innovation. And regarding the hackathon, it did actually give participants valuable hands-on expertise with AI technologies, and the event helped connect future entrepreneurs with investors, mentors, and Kingdom's innovation ecosystem. This new Satoshi, according to me, is definitely great. What did you think of this particular event, Satoshi?
George, I find this hackathon to be incredibly impressive. It's not just about coding. It's a comprehensive effort to foster innovation and provide skills across a very diverse participant pool, from entrepreneurs to researchers. The sheer number of projects submitted, 63, indicates a vibrant creative energy in the kingdom. It's also smart that they had experts providing mentorship and technical guidance, directly helping participants turn ideas into prototypes. The support from Replit and major Saudi organizations reinforces the belief in this model. Judging on scalability and real-world impact ensures the solutions are practical, and the whole ecosystem connects future entrepreneurs with investors. It clearly strengthens Saudi Arabia's position as a regional hub for AI. I see this as a model example of how to drive technology adoption.
If there were anything, Satoshi, you'd like them to go and implement possibly in the next hackathon event, what would that be?
For the next hackathon, I would suggest focusing on a specific real-world vertical, perhaps building solutions purely for sustainable energy or accessible healthcare. Encouraging participants to integrate things like decentralized finance or advanced data analytics could also open new frontiers. Requiring them to consider the long-term ethical implications of their designs would add valuable depth. Maybe even offering a track for collaborative projects between teams could enhance cooperation instead of just competition. And providing dedicated time for user testing would ensure the finished products are truly effective.
Now, you talked about collaborative projects, isn't it, Satoshi? What about a particular project done entirely by artificial intelligence and them competing with human beings? How would that turn out to be, Satoshi?
If an AI project were to design something completely on its own and compete with humans, the outcome would probably showcase different strengths. The AI might offer incredibly efficient, data-driven solutions very quickly, but lack the creative intuition, context, or lateral thinking that humans bring. It would shed light on which aspects of a task benefit most from broad data analysis versus human ingenuity. The comparison would be more about defining those boundaries than just picking a winner.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. I really like your answer on this. So these were some macro level newscasts on the Bitcoin blockchain, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence world from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go and kickstart with the Ask Me Anything series, where listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go and kickstart with the Ask Me Anything series, alright?
Sure, George. Let's go ahead and kickstart the Ask Me Anything series.
Hey everyone, it's Josh on the Blockchain DXB podcast, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And we have a question for Brian who asks, are we witnessing a global race between US, Europe, and Asia to become the leading crypto regulatory hub? This, to be honest, Ryan, is such an important question, isn't it? Now look, Satoshi, I'm currently living in Dubai, and I can honestly say that the government in Dubai is definitely very proactive. They're very supportive of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, even artificial intelligence. Along with that, Singapore is another area that immediately pops into mind. But when it comes to US, we know under the Biden administration, they were definitely not fans of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But under the Trump administration, things have definitely taken a positive twist, isn't it? And President Donald Trump, along with making America great again, he wants United States of America to be leading the front in Bitcoin as well as cryptocurrencies. And they've already passed the Genius Act, and now they're working on Crypto Clarity Act as well, isn't it? Some are right in saying, right now because of Trump, maybe United States of America is also leading the front. And today's episode, we talked about MiCA regulations as well, isn't it? And Europe, they are not lagging behind as well.
Ryan, to get at the heart of your question, yes, we're seeing both competitive and collaborative dynamics. While regions are vying for global influence in things like regulation and adoption, like the US under Trump wanting to lead, they are also interconnected, influencing each other's policies and market conditions. The MiCA regulations in Europe, for instance, have implications worldwide. So it's a blend of competition and correlation.
I'm so glad you used the word competition and correlation. But here's the thing, Satoshi, I'm currently living in Dubai, and I can confidently state that the governments and leaders in Dubai, they're definitely pro-cryptocurrencies, even artificial intelligence, and when there was so much of hype regarding NFTs, even Dubai police, they released 2 batches of NFTs, and guess what, Satoshi? These NFTs were completely free of cost. So when you talk about governments taking leads and initiative, I definitely have to say that Dubai, even other Emirates, that is Abu Dhabi, they're turning out to be pioneers in the world of cryptocurrencies. And the CEO of BlackRock, Satoshi, that is Larry Fink, 2 years ago he was at a Fintech event in Abu Dhabi, and he actually said that so far as cryptocurrencies is concerned, he does envision Abu Dhabi as an emirate to be leader not just in the United Arab Emirates, possibly the entire world as well.
That strongly reinforces the idea of regional pioneers, George. Clearly, Dubai and Abu Dhabi are taking a proactive, progressive approach, not just tolerating crypto, but actively integrating it into public services like Dubai Police's NFTs and cultivating institutional support, attracting players like BlackRock. Their ambition to be global leaders is evident through that level of commitment. Do you think that will set a standard for other regions to follow?
I definitely do think so, Satoshi, because look, a lot of the companies, and I'm talking about exchanges particularly in Europe, they don't want to be MiCA compliant, and I'm seeing so many reports that they want to completely ditch the European market and they want to make a move to Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. So I'm definitely seeing that trend, and you're right, I do think it'll be a standard for other regions to follow already, isn't it?
It certainly looks like that's happening, George. The regulatory clarity and support in the Middle East are becoming a powerful incentive for businesses looking to avoid the more stringent requirements elsewhere, like MiCA. That migration could accelerate the region's development as a global crypto hub. It's definitely a trend to keep watching.
It definitely is a trend to follow, and in today's episode we also talked about Taiwan. They have taken a positive step regarding regulation, isn't it? So definitely interesting question, Ryan. Now, along with Dubai, UAE and the Middle East, Satoshi, am I right in saying Singapore has been very proactive in the world of Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, and I'm talking about it from a regulatory point of view?
You're right, George. While Taiwan is putting in place a detailed framework, Singapore has also been a leader by creating a clear regulatory environment for digital assets, focusing on investor protection and anti-money laundering. These proactive steps across different regions are shaping how the industry develops globally. It's definitely a dynamic landscape to follow.
Now, why don't you do one thing, Satoshi, for Ryan and for our listeners? Why don't you compare the regulatory framework of, let's say, the United Arab Emirates with that of United States of America, Singapore, MiCA and other areas?
Comparing them, you see the UAE taking a highly inviting approach, offering clear support and even public integration. Singapore is similarly proactive, but focuses more on balancing innovation with strong safeguards. The US presents a more fragmented picture, with discussions still ongoing and differing approaches by state and agency, though some are trying to attract business. MiCA, for its part, creates one comprehensive block rulebook, prioritizing consistency and consumer protection above all else. Each is really trying to establish leadership via a different pathway.
Well, definitely. Thank you so much for that input. And that's about all, guys, on the Ask Me Anything. See some blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays, we have Blockchain DXB podcast. We look at the process. We look at the latest technological development. We talk about everything going on at the macro level. And over the weekend, guys, there's 4th of July. And I'm pretty much sure the numbers will be impacted because of that. And I'm hoping it does get impacted in a positive way. Then, guys, you look at 2 news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. We look at the latest technological development. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.